I am back, baby. Also, before I forget, super fun and completely unrelated to today's video, I passed my proofreading and copy editing course last week, so I am now a fully qualified proofreader and copy editor. Proud of you, past Liv. Look at you go, girl. Anyway, that's completely beside the point. I just wanted to share my little victory. Weird flex. Do people still say weird flex? Today we are going to talk about how I manage my PCOS at home. Mostly because it's been a minute since I've done a PCOS video, and I really want this channel to be somewhere that we can talk about this stuff and that people feel comfortable and can maybe just feel a bit validated by the fact that someone else is going through a similar thing. So I am going to keep talking about it. If PCOS and periods and hormonal issues and whatever else isn't your bag, I totally understand that, and feel free to go watch another video elsewhere. So I think I've already said on the channel before, I was diagnosed a few years ago now. I wasn't really given any help on how to manage it besides the doctor telling me to keep my weight down, which as a party line for hormonal issues in general, but especially when the majority of those people that you're giving that line to are going to be the entire female spectrum, that's a dangerous thing to say. So I went home and I googled it, and ever since then I've been in a trial and error process trying to figure out what works for me and what doesn't, and everyone who suffers with PCOS is very, very different. So this is just what works for me. This is not necessarily going to work for you or for anybody else. And this is by no means one of those videos that's like, do these 5 things and you'll never have to whatever. Like, it's not that. This is just, it works for me, it might help someone else, and it's always good with a condition like PCOS to put as much information out there as you possibly can, so that people like me, when they get diagnosed, can go and find it and get as broad an idea of what they can do to help themselves as possible. So that's all this is. It's just informative and what works for me. I take a multivitamin with iron every single day, and I do that because I don't eat red meat. The downside of that is that I am also super anemic. And I have really heavy periods because of my PCOS. So I take a multivitamin and iron supplement just to make sure that I'm getting everything I need, including my iron levels. Like, I feel really, really tired and sluggish and just generally shit without taking my multivitamin. So I take that every day. I also have a phobia of swallowing tablets or pills, so I use a liquid. I use the Floridix. Here's a picture, not sponsored. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I use the Floridix multivitamin and iron supplement, and I find that when I don't take it, I definitely feel the difference. My energy levels dip a lot more, and I'm just a lot more sluggish and kind of foggy in my brain. So I keep up with that every single day without fail. The second thing I started looking into was my exercise routine. I discovered that I really enjoyed lifting weights, so I started going to a local kettlebells class with a Strong First instructor, and absolutely loved it. Obviously, I then got injured. I damaged my shoulder and my neck pretty badly and had to stop working out. And for months and months and months, I was out of commission. I couldn't carry anything. I couldn't lift anything. I had really bad vertigo. There was like all this shit going on. So I wasn't able to do anything. Then the pandemic hit and I was still suffering through all of that. Then my injury got worse because I wasn't taking care of myself properly, because there was this whole weird general anxiety thing that kind of caused me to stop looking after myself. And then I gained weight, which made the symptoms of my PCOS worse. Then I got lucky, according to the doctor, because I went without a period for almost 3 months. And he said to me, enjoy the holiday. And yeah, in principle, enjoy the holiday, but also just stop and think for a minute about what that means is going on in your body. Like, even with PCOS and it getting worse as I got older, I have always had a period once a month without fail. I've never struggled with that. I've never had to worry about that. And then all of a sudden they just stopped. And I was like, sweet baby Jesus, this cannot be good for you. My exercise routine and everything else that I do to manage my symptoms has an impact that then helps my periods stay regular. And I really want to get back to that because they're still not. Like, I was 7 weeks, just recently, 7 weeks between periods. That's not right. That's just not right. And I have recently started working out again, so I am going to lose a little bit of weight, and I'm definitely going to get a lot fitter and a lot healthier because I'm really unfit and unhealthy. But I'm not asked about how big or how small I am anymore these days. And my exercise routine now is kettlebells. I do all of this at home, by the way, because obviously pandemic times and no one's been running classes. Plus the fact that I am currently not earning any money. So we out here and we are working out at home, which works really well because I already had weights and everything, so like it's not costing me anything. Anyway, so I'm doing kettlebells and I'm doing yoga and I'm doing boxing. I just took up boxing and I absolutely bloody love it. It's great, and you can find some really good low impact boxing workouts on YouTube. I use a channel called Nate Bauer Fitness for boxing. His workouts are really short, but they really get you going. And he does a lot of good technique stuff as well. And like, I really feel like I'm learning a lot. Then for yoga, I use Yoga with Adriene. And then kettlebells, well, I went to a kettlebells class with an instructor for a couple of years, and I was going at least once a week, if not twice a week. So I learned a huge amount of the technique, and it's muscle memory. It doesn't really leave you, so I was able to just pick that up straight away on my own. So I make my own workouts for kettlebell. Hand in hand with exercise, of course, is diet. I've already said I take a vitamin supplement with iron because I don't eat red meat. The majority of my diet is entirely vegetarian. I do eat fish on occasion, and when I do eat fish, I will pick something that's full of good fats, like salmon or something like that. Big fan of salmon. Bloody love salmon, actually. I don't drink caffeine anymore. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink fizzy juice. I don't eat red meat. And you know, I miss precisely none of them apart from Dr. Pepper. I bloody love Dr. Pepper. And when I found out it was full of caffeine, of course it's full of caffeine, it's like a fizzy drink. But I was so sad that I wouldn't be able to drink Dr. Pepper anymore when I quit caffeine. I live entirely on decaf tea and water, vegetables, vegetarian options like vegan sausages, vegan burgers. I've got a really big sweet tooth, and I do eat a lot of sugar, which is not good for someone with PCOS because your body is already struggling to regulate your insulin levels with PCOS. However, I apparently don't give two shits about that. I'm gonna eat this entire bar of dairy milk in 10 minutes flat. Also, Dan got me 3 kilos of mini eggs around Easter time. I don't even remember when Easter was. I think it was the beginning of April. Anyway, I've eaten 3 kilos of mini eggs in the last 2 months, so clearly I have no problem risking my insulin levels, which should be addressed at some point. But, you know, to be fair, I don't have a lot of other vices. I don't drink. I don't, like, I'm not chowing down on a big fat steak every night of the week. Like, I'm not frying all my food, so like, I think I can have a few biscuits, alright? Jesus. Stress has such a physical impact on your body in general that it stands to reason that if you're not managing your stress properly, or if you're in a very stressful situation, regardless of how you're managing it, it's going to have a knock-on effect with something like PCOS. Of course, that's a physical issue, so is stress. it manifests itself very, very physically. And we all know this. We've all been through a very stressful time the last year, 18 months, however long. And, you know, that's just the way it is. Like, stress is bad for your body. So I'm a big fan of mindfulness. I use the Calm app a lot, sleep stories to help me kind of unwind after a long day, and a lot of the journaling sections in there that you can make notes on and keep a record of how you're feeling that day and what's been going on, that kind of thing. There's also great meditation exercises in the Calm app. There's also places like Headspace and, you know, things like that. They all do the same thing. They're all going to be fantastic. Meditation is amazing for stress management. There's also the obvious ones of diet and exercise, you know, eating foods and working out to keep yourself a little bit happy and less stressed. Obviously, that's all very well and good. You can say that, but like realistically speaking, does anyone who's actually stressed look after themselves? The answer is no. And you know the things you should be doing to manage your stress and to look after yourself, but nobody does because we stressed. So you just do what you have to survive. Totally understandable. The one thing I found super helpful to take a whole load of stress off my shoulders was to simply say no. Become a little bit more selfish, right? I know it seems a little bit counterintuitive because everyone at the moment, especially through the pandemic and everything, has been like, people are so selfish, this is terrible. I'm not saying go out and ruin someone's day, right? I'm saying set yourself some boundaries, stick to them, and tell the people who that has an effect on what it is that you're doing. I'm managing my stress. I'm just trying to take a little bit of the load off. Just let me say no once in a blue moon. That's all you got to do. And it makes a big difference to the amount of pressure and stress that you're feeling. Obviously, there's always going to be stress, there's always going to be pressure, and this may not work for everyone. It probably won't work for everyone, but that's what worked for me. So I'm just sharing it. And the last thing that I do that definitely has a positive impact on my PCOS symptoms is a proper sleep routine. So I go to bed at near enough the same time every night. I wake up at near enough the same time every morning. I try my best to get my full 8 hours, but then I am also a chronic sleeper. I reckon I could sleep 18 hours a day. I'm like a cat. Generally speaking, when I'm looking after myself properly, go to bed at the same time every night, which for me, I'm nocturnal, naturally nocturnal, not a morning person, definitely a night person. So I usually go to bed at about between midnight and 1 a.m. is when I go to sleep generally. And then I'm up by 9:30 that next morning, depending on how heavily I've slept. I'm also a really heavy sleeper. The fucking world could end and I would be none the wiser. I'd wake up in the morning and just be like, huh. All your symptoms get worse when you're not taking care of yourself. So you have to take care of yourself if you want to manage the symptoms. Diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and take a supplement if you're like me and you don't eat red meat, or there's something that you can't have, or you know, whatever. Like, make sure that you're getting your vitamins and nutrients, because honestly your body will thank you for it. But that all adds up to regular periods, relatively manageable skin, my acne isn't too bad, manageable body hair. I mean, I have to wax. We know this. I've done a whole video, which by the way you can check up here if you haven't seen that, where I talk about my facial hair, my lovely beard and mustache, which are coming through beautifully at the moment. Gearing up for the next waxing. It's so exciting. I love it. These are the 5 things that I do every single day, or every single week anyway, in order to keep my PCOS symptoms at a level that I am comfortable with and that I can live with. Obviously this is not going to work for everyone. This is not an advice video, you should go and do this, you should go and do that. This is just a video telling you what I do and what works for me. Feel free to try any or all of these things if you think it might help. And it might not help, but it might help. I don't know. Anyway, if you have any other things that you do yourself at home to manage your PCOS, then please let me know in the comments. I would be really interested to hear some of the other ideas that you guys have. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Hit that ring bell button to be notified every time I upload a new video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!